Would you believe me if I told you that a 100-year-old prophecy may come true in 2024? And it's closely related to the United States of America. Hold on tight, because the 3 secrets of Fatima might be coming to light. It all started with 3 shepherds in 1917, who lived in a quiet spot called Cova de Iria, which was situated next to the town of Fatima in Portugal. They allegedly saw visions of the Virgin Mary asking them to carry out certain rosary prayers, which is basically just a traditional Catholic prayer. This included world peace, the end of World War, for non-believers to convert, and for Russia to become a Catholic country. Seems weird why 3 shepherds were chosen for such a job by the Virgin Mary. Now, here's where things get even stranger. Mary apparently gave these kids 3 secrets, like top-secret hidden messages that only they were meant to know, and eventually preach to the world. The first secret. This one was about a special kind of devotion to Mary's heart. It's a symbol of Catholic belief for peace and compassion, and it was meant to inspire people to live with those qualities. The second secret. This one gets dark. The kids were given a vision of hell. It was a warning, almost like a heads-up to stay on a better path, according to Mary. One last twist in the story. Years after these visions, one of the children, Sister Lucia, was asked to write down this third secret. She had kept it in the deepest confidence for years, but after falling seriously ill in 1943, she finally wrote it all down on a single sheet of paper, sealed it in an envelope, and handed it over to the bishop. Picture this. She describes a vision of an angel holding a flaming sword, looking like he's about to set the world on fire. But he's stopped by this powerful light coming from the Virgin Mary. The angel then yells out, "Penance, penance, penance," like a cosmic call to get our act together. Come Milanovicentu Tantadu. Sister Lucia writes a letter to the Pope, finally revealing and entrusting the third secret to him. She wrote in her letter that the prophecy wasn't just some vision she'd had, it was an actual warning. She also might have insinuated that Russia was causing serious problems by spreading communism, causing global unrest. Basically, she told humans of the world to get their bearings right, or trouble would follow. Enough beating around the bush. Let's finally reveal the third secret. The third secret. Now this one was the most cryptic and, as you know, was hidden for a long, long time. Only in the year 2000, a few decades later, did the Pope decide that, okay, it's time to reveal it to the world. The secret described a vision of a bishop in white getting attacked by soldiers, with bullets and arrows flying at him. Many people believe this vision foreshadowed the assassination attempt on John Paul II himself on May 13, 1981, a seriously eerie coincidence given the date. Pope John Paul II was seriously hurt in the assassination attempt, but he actually survived, and he believed it was a miracle thanks to the Virgin Mary. As a token of his gratitude, Pope John visited the Lady of Fatima's shrine in Portugal, and surprisingly, placed the very bullet meant to take his life atop her crown. He later even forgave the assassin, teaching people to keep their faith strong and to be kind. All right, so the first 2 secrets from Fatima. They're kind of wild when you look at them with what's been happening over the last century. People usually interpret the first secret as this huge red flag about the dangers that humanity creates for itself. Think of the devastation we bring on through things like war or just straight-up cruelty. And this vision is no joke. It's a seriously vivid image of hell that's supposed to give us a taste of the consequences if we keep letting these destructive behaviors run wild. A lot of people look at the world wars as a pretty literal fulfillment of that first warning, which makes sense because those wars left a scar on the world that we're still kind of dealing with today. Then we get to the second secret, which is just as intense in its own way. This one talks about the conversion of Russia. Russia played a huge role in both world wars and the Cold War, spreading these revolutionary ideas that totally rocked governments and split people into opposing camps all over the world. It was like this giant ideological shift that kept creating conflicts and tension for decades. The third secret, though, is where things get even stranger. This vision shows a bishop in white leading a group through a destroyed city with corpses everywhere, only to be killed along with his followers. It's this image of widespread suffering that's led many to see it as a prophecy about more than just the Pope. It could be humanity itself facing destruction or judgment on a massive scale. A pope in Sydney was recently stabbed, ensuing a lot of riots in its wake. We're seeing Catholic strongholds in Europe start to unravel. Even priests and bishops there feel left out of the conversation now, with the government moving forward without consulting the church at all.
I mean, Catholic countries like Ireland have crumbled. You know, there used to be a number of European countries that were holding out against the secularizing tendency. There used to be Ireland, Malta, Poland. Poland's still holding out, but by a thread. Hungary and Slovakia are sort of in the battle too. But Malta legalized divorce, and it was like you pulled a thread out of a cloth, and the whole thing is kind of unraveling right now. I was doing a retreat for priests in Malta a couple of years ago.
It's honestly kind of freaky how much we can link what's happening around us to the Fatima prophecies. I mean, just take a look around you. It's like a never-ending cycle of pain and suffering out here. The Russia-Ukraine conflict and the genocide in Palestine are just heartbreaking stuff. These issues are not just political, they're polarizing on deep levels. With real, ordinary people caught up in a grand scheme of things they can't control or influence. It's like we're watching the Fatima prophecy unfold in real time. Then there's nature itself. Almost every country in the world is dealing with a catastrophe of its own, be it wildfires, floods, earthquakes, or hurricanes. A lot of people link these events to the Fatima prophecies, as if Mother Nature were punishing us for the dwindling humanity and kindness we have. In the third secret, Sister Lucia saw an angel bearing a sword of fire, which is believed to be nature's rage. Just take a moment to think over it. Fires spreading through forests, rivers drying up, hurricanes destroying all life, calamity after calamity, ready to destroy humans. The US especially has felt this. Wildfires and hurricanes are practically normal news at this point, which is honestly kind of scary. A lot of people see this prophecy as a warning to the United States. Look at what's happening here. The intense division, violence, mass shootings, and social issues that are pulling people apart more than ever. It almost feels like the country is in this constant battle with itself, and it doesn't just stay within US borders. This kind of tension impacts the whole world. For some, this lines up with the prophecy's message, like a reminder that if a country strays too far from compassion and peace, there could be a real price to pay. So, what do you think? Is the prophecy a sign, a warning, or just a coincidence? Maybe it's time we ask ourselves that.